Hi, everyone. This is the Live Magic Q&A Tea Party, and I'm your host, Madame Pamita. And this is a very special episode that we have here today because it is the beginning of a new era, the grand finale of one era and the beginning of a brand new era, which is very exciting. Anyway, this is Live Magic Q&A Tea Party. We meet here every Sunday, except for the first Sunday of the month. The first Sunday of the month, I have witchcraft workshops, which are paid workshops. But every other Sunday of the month, we meet here at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, or 2 a.m. Ibiza time, right? Is it?
Only for you. It is 2 a.m. Yeah. Only
Oh
for
my
you.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Joseph James, who's my guest today, is in Ibiza, Spain, and it is 2 a.m. there. So you guys, you're gonna know how much he loves me and how much he loves you by being up
Make the
at 2
questions
a.m. to
good,
be on the
everyone.
show. The big sacrifices that are made. Anyway, we meet here every Sunday at those times. And this is a free Zoom webinar. You can join us. It doesn't cost anything to join. All you have to do is go to spellsquad.com and sign up, and you'll get the link to join. And you can join us every week. The link is the same. You'll get a message with that link, and you'll get some other information, a free 33-page ebook, and some other goodies and things like that sent to your email inbox. But once you do that, you'll be able to join us and ask your questions. You guys are the stars here. You guys come up with these amazing questions, and we get to answer them. So it's very, very cool. So let me give you my big announcement that I've been teasing all week long. So, by the way, before I get into that, if you don't know who I am, if you're finding this on YouTube and you don't know who I am, I'm Madame Pamita. You can find me online at parlourofwonders.com. I'm an author, a teacher, a witch, a maker of magic, music, mischief, all of it. I have a YouTube channel, which is Madame Pamita, and Instagram account, also Madame Pamita. And I have a podcast that's some off and on podcast that I do once in a while. It's called Magic and the Law of Attraction. And you can find that at magicandthelawofattraction.com. I also do a blog on my page, Parlour of Wonders. And I have another blog called Baba Yaga's Cottage, which you can find over at Patheos at Pagan, or you can type in babayagascottage.com and you'll go straight to it. Now, here's my big announcement. Starting in June, of course, the first week of June is going to be a witchcraft workshop, which we have the first Sunday witchcraft workshops, and that's going to be a powerful protection workshop. We're going to learn all about protection magic, all the different things that you can do. And it's going to be a really phenomenal workshop. And if you want to join me for that, you go to witchcraftworkshops.com. It'll take you over there where you can sign up for that paid workshop. So workshops are about an hour and a half to 2 hours long. There are lots of great information that you can take and use, and you can ask all your questions. We have a great time doing it. But this is my big announcement. Following that workshop, going forward into June and beyond, we're going to be having a new format for the Live Magic Q&A. Live Magic Q&A will continue on, but I won't be having guests on anymore. That's why this is so exciting to have Joseph James on, because he's my dear friend and an amazing magical practitioner and amazing money mindset coach. And so we're going to talk about money mindset, prosperity magic, business coaching, and all kinds of things, and how that blends with spiritual practices. So we're going to have a great talk about that. But he is my last guest, at least for the foreseeable future. And so what we're going to be doing in the on the Q&As going forward is we're going to be having mini workshops at the beginning. So we're still going to have an hour-long format, but the first 15 minutes or so is going to be a little workshop about a very, very specific topic. So it'll just be me by myself. I won't be having guests, but I'll be teaching you some really cool things, very, very specific things about very specific topics. So it's something that I love to do, and I haven't been able to do as much. And, we get these bigger topics when we're doing those big workshops on the first Sundays, but there's sometimes things that maybe it doesn't warrant having a 2-hour workshop about this topic, but I do want to teach you something. So you're going to be getting a free mini workshop, and then I'll answer your questions about magic or anything else that you have, spirituality, divination, or anything like that. And I'll answer those in the last part of the Q&A. So the schedule is up for the rest of the year. I put the schedule up on my site. So if you go to I think if you go to, well, if you just go to my site, Parlour of Wonders, and you go to learn, and then you go to got questions, that'll take you to the schedule. But I'll tell you what's coming up. On June 13th, we're going to talk about sun magic because we have the summer solstice coming up. It's a big time for working with the sun. And we're going to be talking about sun magic. So that first 15, 20 minutes or so, it's going to be talking about that. And I'll give you a mini workshop in that, absolutely free. June 20th, I'm going to be talking about roses in magic. Beautiful topic, an amazing topic, and actually probably could be a 2-hour workshop, but I'm going to really condense it and get it into that like 15, 20-minute schedule so that we can talk about that. And then June 27th, I'm going to be talking about mermaids and mermaid magic, which is going to be very, very fun. Something that we, it's not like a whole class that we've done, but it's something we can definitely spend 15, 20 minutes on, and we can learn about that, and you can learn something. And then if you have questions about anything else, that's not related to that topic or on some other topic entirely, I can answer those questions in the latter part of it. So that was my big announcement, my big exciting announcement, that Joseph James was my last guest, my final guest, at least for the foreseeable future. And then we're going to start doing workshops instead of having guests, which is a very exciting thing. And I hope you guys like that. So speaking of workshops, I do have a couple workshops, as I mentioned. On June 6th, the first Sunday of the month, is my first Sunday witchcraft workshops, and I have powerful protection magic. And then on June 30th, I'm doing a workshop through Catland Books. If you go to catlandbooks.com, you can sign up. On June 30th, I'll be doing the myth and magic of Baba Yaga. So I'll be talking about Baba Yaga, one of my favorites, Slavic magic. She's the old witch, the wicked old witch of Slavic magic, but we're going to learn so much more about her, and she's not wicked at all. There's a lot of information about her, and I'd love to share this with you. So that's going to be a beautiful workshop, as well as the powerful protection workshop that we're doing. Now, to get to my guest, my final guest, my special friend, Joseph James is my dear, full disclosure, he is like one of my dearest friends. We've known each other for years. We've done magic together for years. And he's also my business coach, and an amazing business coach. You probably know I have a very thriving business. I have employees. I have a business that's growing. And so much of that I owe to him and his coaching. And he has been transformative in my business. I mean, the things that he has helped me with and suggested, and we just have this beautiful energy back and forth. And he does business coaching and also money mindset coaching. I think even people that are it doesn't have to be that you have a business. It could be something that you're working for someone else, I imagine, and still need to have a money mindset shift. And that's what he does. He has a beautiful school called the MMS Academy. So MMS, which is Money Mindset and Strategy. And Money Mindset and Strategy is the name of his podcast. So welcome, my dear beloved friend, my dear friend in Ibiza at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Thank you. Virtual hug.
Oh my gosh.
It's so good to be here. Thank you.
It's so good to see you. I mean, we see each other once a week, but it's good to see each other in something where I get
always good to see you.
Yeah,
always.
we get to talk about you and your business. Usually we're talking about me and my business. So money mindset and strategy is the podcast in MMS Academy. So tell me, I mean, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Like, you were doing business coaching for years and years and doing publicity, working in PR at very high levels, like international high level PR. You were teaching.
Sweetie darling.
I know.
Was.
I know, and probably don't miss it at all. Right.
Well, you know the stories, right? You remember.
Yeah. And so you actually practice what you preach. You were coaching and teaching people, but working in PR, but you wanted to really, dive in and do just doing the coaching because that was what was most fulfilling to you. And I know that, that's probably one of the things that you really coach people with, is being able to let go of the safety of something that is known, but they don't like it, and really get in alignment with their true passion. I know that that's one of the things that we've worked on, for me. So you did it and you practiced what you preached, and now you have this gorgeous, thriving, beautiful business, which is so amazing. So
thank you.
How did that happen? Or do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I mean, something I talk about a lot on the podcast, and I think in so many workshops, is I was doing PR for kind of over 10 years, working with celebrities and a lot of global brands. And whenever I would do like one-on-one consulting with people, I always found that you could give two people the exact same strategy and they would get very different results. And the more I really watched this, the clearer it became that it was about the mindset. It was about the way the person felt about themselves. It was about what they believed was possible for them. It was about what I call money ceiling. How much do you think it's possible for you to earn? And I've used this example, so many times now, but think about like the Kardashians. It is no big deal for them to charge $1 million a tweet because their money ceiling is so high. Their mindset is so aligned with, of course I'm worth it. Now, we all have our versions of that, right? And working in PR, I started to look after, this was years ago now, somebody who was a well-known coach. And she actually said to me, you're coaching me. And I didn't know what that was. I was like, am I? And she said, yeah, you're really good. And actually, I'd like to pass you some clients. And she passed me clients who wanted me to do business consulting, business advice with mindset coaching. So it kind of came about very naturally. And then I went back into PR for, another few years, doing coaching on the side. And it was really a few years ago that I kind of, both intuitively and on a very practical level, just realized this is what I want to do full time. Teach people very practical things they can do to increase their income, raise their fees, hence the t-shirt, map out, different offers that they can really use to grow their business and get rid of all the BS beliefs, that are holding them back. So in a very roundabout way, that's what I do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, when we started, I'm just telling you guys that are here with us that when we started, Joseph was doing PR, but also doing the coaching as well. And I've been with you on that whole journey, but from the get-go, like the first time we ever did a session, you gave me something that was so
I remember that
transformative for
session.
me. Oh my gosh, I do too.
I remember so well. I was in France at the time. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's right.
South of France.
And you just gave me this nugget that was transformed my business, and really set me on a completely beautiful trajectory where I was really unhappy with certain parts, and it just freed up so that I could spend more doing the parts that I love. And I think that's part of a mindset shift, is being able to find the way to get out of the part that seems like drudgery or seems like it's dragging you down and get to the really juicy stuff. I mean, that I think as much about the income part of it as much about the joy part of it. I think that's part of mindset, right? I mean, it's like there's no point at working at a job that you're miserable at, even if you're making zillions of dollars or zillions of euros or zillions of pounds, depending on what part of the
world. Just zillions of anything.
I mean, your PR job, you were getting paid really well, but you were really, it wasn't, you could feel the disconnect between your potential and who you were and that job. And there's the same thing with parts of my job where I didn't love that part of my job and I was having to do it. Like I can give you guys an example of that is bookkeeping. I can't stand bookkeeping. I don't like it. So it was like, Joseph said, hire somebody to do the bookkeeping. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that freed me up to do other things that were more in alignment with who I was, whether it was having more free time or writing a book or doing something else that was something that was fulfilling to me rather than, or teaching a class or, whatever, rather than doing the
being fabulous.
Yeah. Being fabulous.
Just being fabulous.
So I think of that very, very simple thing, but that coaching aspect was so valuable. So now in terms of, I think I have never even talked to you about this or asked you about this, but a lot of times what we have talked about, well, because I don't talk to you about your business so much. I mean, we have our talks about personal things and we also have our talks about my business, but we don't talk about your business so much. But I know that you do coach a lot of people who are have their own businesses and are service providers or have coaching businesses themselves or do other things, similar things to what I do and so on. But do you ever coach people who are working in corporate environments or who are working for other people? And so,
absolutely.
Yeah. And so how is that? I mean, I think we always talk about the business aspect, but
Mhm.
how can somebody like that benefit from coaching?
It's so interesting that you asked that now, because about 2 or 3 days ago, I got hired to do a corporate job, and they want me to do a webinar and present this whole workshop. And the lady who booked me was like, "Just so you know, these people are all employed." Like that would be something I hadn't dealt with. I said, "No, that's fine." And money mindset is something that is so important, whether you are self-employed or you want to be. Money mindset is your relationship with money. It's how you think about yourself and money. It's how much you allow yourself to have, to receive, to keep. It's your spending habits. It's really, it's a very popular phrase in coaching, but how you do money is how you do everything. So if you're self-employed, it's incredibly important, of course. But if you're employed, it's just as important. And some examples, asking for a raise, your boundaries at work, your money language. I teach in MMS Academy a whole section on empowered money language, dropping apologetic language, dropping money guilt. There's so much around the way we hold space, the way we, the way we show up at work. Again, whether we're self-employed or we work for someone else. So it's absolutely important, really, I think, for anyone in any area of life to really any industry rather, to make sure that their money mindset is working for them. Everybody's version of working for them is different, right? You can't say what you should do. It's about if it's working for you. And that's really my goal as a mentor and a coach, is to get people to that place where they're dropping all the BS beliefs. I'm not going to swear, I promise. And they're promise all those bullshit beliefs. Beep. And they stop doing all those things that they don't love, they don't enjoy, and they learn that they can actually make things simple and enjoyable. So I remember that coaching session you're talking about, and it reminds me why I love coaching so much, because sometimes we get so wrapped up in how things should be or what we should do, we forget that you actually have permission to do things in a way that work for you.
I think that's a big thing. I mean, like, especially when you have your own business, whether it's a side hustle or it's your main business or something like that, we sometimes feel like that same thing, like we have a boss,
Mhm.
but
Absolutely.
you are the boss of your side hustle. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you get to set the term. I mean, it's like there's like a light bulb that goes off when you suddenly realize, wait a minute, I'm the boss. I can make the decisions. I can take this day off. I can do
Yeah.
this thing. I can do it this way. One of the things I think about how important this is, I mean, people are probably listening to this and going, well, what does this got to do with magic? But magic and mindset,
Everything.
ev- everything. So what,
Everything.
do you want to talk about that for a second? Like how
I'm
this,
just going to dive in the deep end. I'm not even going to paddle. I'm just going to jump in. So, I identify as a witch. I practice different forms of spiritual, I have different practices. I also practice magic. And, similar to my example in PR, different people can do different spells and get very different results. Why? Mindset. So a crystal clear example of money mindset and magic. If you don't believe that it's really possible for you to earn a certain amount, create a certain level of income or change in your life, whether it's business or confidence, anything, you can't manifest past what you believe is possible. Let's put it that way. I wrote a book on magic a few years ago called Spellwork Secrets. This is a few years ago. I don't think I ever told you this. It was at my last day in that corporate job. And I walked in, I'm sidetracking a little bit, but I walked in and it came out the printer. The book came out the printer and I hadn't actually linked it up. And I thought, okay, spirit guides, I get it. Yeah. And one of the things in the book that I was so cool to say to people was like, magic manifests according to your belief. So money mindset's really about raising your ceiling of what you think is possible, but also what you feel you deserve. Because if you don't really feel like you deserve something, you'll kind of half get it. And if you do get it, you'll probably give it away or possibly sabotage it. So your mindset is crucial in magic. An example that I think about, and it makes me laugh, is imagine Bill Gates does a money spell. And imagine you do a money spell. What are the differences in manifestation, right? The mindset is so different. we really want to be always looking at where we're coming from in our mindset, whether it's
Are you saying I don't have a billionaire mindset? Are you
not you, darling, of course you do. Of course. But, it's really all about, I read this beautiful thing today. I practiced Nichiren Buddhism, and there was this gorgeous thing someone sent me about chanting for a goal. And one of the things it said was, are you chanting like a beggar or a Buddha? And it was basically saying, if you're like, oh, please, I hope this works, you're coming from like a very victim energy, very lack energy. In Nichiren Buddhism, to say you're a Buddha means like an enlightened being, your higher self. So the idea is that you chant, or in this case, you do magic from a place where you're like, of course I deserve this. Of course I can manifest this. And you want to keep raising that ceiling of what you think is possible for yourself. I love this topic.
It really applies to not just money. It really applies to anything. You can really look at that. And this is really in alignment with what I teach as well, because I always say, an adept magician can use a crystal clear thought and create magic. You don't need, you don't need to have a candle. You don't need to have an herb. You don't need to have those things. But the fact of the matter is, most of us, we don't have that crystal clear, or we'll have that crystal clear thought for a minute and then we'll step back from it. So the kind of approaches I think that we're looking at is like, you're helping people to keep getting back on the horse of that crystal clear thought. And I'm the person that says, it's okay. Yes, get back on that horse, but here's a candle that can assist and can keep that energy flowing, or here's an oil that can keep that energy flowing, even if you're a bit wobbly. So we're looking at that same thing and addressing those same issues in similar ways. I mean, it's like I've been doing magic for decades now, and I still use candles. I still do spells in that way because I know that it's like a really helpful thing. No matter if I'm clear about it or if I'm wobbly about it, it's still going to help push things forward in the direction that I'm putting my intention. You're helping people to keep having that mindfulness, that awareness, and that awakened energy, so that they keep checking themselves. It's almost like the foundation of any magic. You're addressing that foundation, which is like, you need to shift your mindset. And you're also, one of the things that I noticed, this is me giving a feedback that we've never talked about, but I noticed that you always, in our sessions, when we do sessions, you're always helping me to see where my own blocks are, which you're doing it so gently and so lovingly. And so, but it's like, oh, I didn't even realize I had that block. I didn't even realize I had that hesitation about something. And you help get someone over that. Like, why not get over it? Just get over that limitation that you're creating artificially for yourself in some way. So beautiful. So beautiful. So I know that one of the things, before we get to some questions, I know that we were talking right before we got started that you were going to, because I'm sure there's people that are probably either have businesses or wanting to have some, career coaching or business coaching or money mindset coaching and shifting that mindset. And you were saying that you were going to have a special thing for everybody in the Spell Squad.
Absolutely. So we have, like I said, we launched a school this year. We also do coach training, and I also do private coaching packages with people. So, to everyone watching, if you're interested in getting some money mindset coaching or learning some very practical things you can do to grow your business and, of course, your income, send us an email, support@moneymindsetandstrategy.com, or you can just go to the website. And I think we have 10 spaces available for 30-minute consultations. I think it's 10.
Okay, I'm typing it in here. Money mindset and strategy, support at moneymindsetandstrategy.com.
Or you can send me a DM on Instagram. It's josephjames_official.
Joseph James. I can't type fast enough, you guys. Sorry. Oh, there we go. All right. So that's Instagram. And I should have somebody doing this. That's probably the next thing we're going to talk about.
We need bubbles.
Having somebody do my typing for me. All right, there you go. So I have it. I have those down in the chat if you want to look that up. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Billy's saying, "I love your Queen T-shirt. I am the Queen, but this is when I saw Queen performing with Adam Lambert playing, singing. It's Freddie Mercury. He was singing. I love Queen. One of my favorite bands. I love rock music. I love oldies. I love punk rock. I love all kinds of old soul, all kinds of oldies. All right, so so Billy says an epic last guest for sure, for sure, for
Thank
sure.
you.
And Krista says the Baba Yaga class will be amazing. It will be. Krista's worked with me with Baba Yaga. Krista's amazing shamanic practitioner who's taking me on many journeys to meet Baba Yaga, and hang out Baba Yaga. So that's gonna be a good one.
Can't wait for the book.
So talking about, manifestation of money, if you think about, like, I think this is something, if we look at people that have had, they have a business or they have a job, but what, I think when people are in lack or in real dire situations, they've lost their job, they are, working at a job that's really not paying them enough. That's like a very big barrier to get over. How do you get or help? How would you recommend that people get out of that fear that they're feeling? Is there something that you could, sort of recommend as a strategy for people that are dealing with that?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to me intuitively is it's really around like your self-talk. Okay, so it's completely natural to go through things in life which are challenging or not ideal. I'm not one of those people that is like, only love and light exist. Life is many things. What's important is your sense of identity and your sense of self. Okay, so I have a card deck called MMS Power Thoughts, which I think you have. And one of the cards says, I choose to see myself as powerful, capable, and brilliant. And if you're in a situation where you're not feeling powerful and you're not feeling brilliant, etc., I want you to think about a time when you did. Think about a time you really smashed your goals. It's a very English thing to say, smashed your goals. But think about a time you felt really powerful or really resourceful and you really overcame something. What were you believing about yourself then? And what were you saying to yourself then? And say those things to yourself now. Okay, go into that mindset and remind yourself that that part of you is already there. It's infinite. It's never going away. But kind of like a light, right? You turn the light off, but it's always there. You can turn it back on. So the first thing is to really go into your sense of identity and your sense of self, reminding yourself you are powerful and you are capable and brilliant. And it's completely natural to feel shitty sometimes or feel overwhelmed. Again, we never want to make ourselves wrong or guilty or feel any of that rubbish. We want to be very kind to ourselves and to go into that mindset where you connect with that part of yourself that did overcome something. And I'm sure if you think about some of the biggest things in your life you've overcome, really the biggest challenges, and we've all got them, you can probably look at a challenge you might be feeling right now and go, yeah, it's nothing compared to that. I can easily do that. So that would definitely be the first thing, would be to really connect with that part of yourself that's already there, right? And then map out some very practical steps. To use the card example, I should have got the cards ready, I didn't, but moving quickly on, I know we both have them in other rooms. Bubbles. Bubbles comes in with the card.
Exactly.
Bubbles is the assistant from Absolutely Fabulous, in case anyone watching doesn't know that show.
I know. We always say we're Patsy and Eddie, but we can't decide who's who.
We can't decide which one. We will get to an answer though, I promise. But there's a card in the deck that says, if I felt empowered, I would. It's a coaching question I use with clients and with myself. So if you don't feel a certain way now, do self-coaching. Say, if I felt powerful now, what would I do? And that's going to get you into that mindset. And then journal a few things you can do. And of course, start to take action on those things. So you want to go with the mindset and then a very practical list of things you can do. That's kind of what my business is based on: money, mindset, and strategy. It's like blending the mindset with very practical, very Capricorn things.
Yeah, you're a Capricorn, and he is indeed a Capricorn.
Typical.
But that is such powerful energy. Capricorns, if there's any Capricorns in the crowd here, Capricorn's an earth sign. They're builders, and Capricorns tend to find a path, as most earth signs do, find a path and stick with that path. But the difference between Capricorn energy and say Virgo energy or Taurian energy, is that Capricorns really are like the movers and shakers. I do feel like they have this building up stature and really building, they're builders. Like I think of them in visionary ways, like the ones that build empires. They're the ones that the other signs we can look at and go like, wow, that is that quality that I want to have a little bit more of in my life. So whether you have, like, I don't have any Capricorn in my chart, but I can certainly look at that as a model and take on that mantle and start to do that in whatever way that feels good to my little flowy Cancer, you know.
Do you remember one of our first, this is like probably 4 or 5 years ago, you were giving me some magical advice on something, and you were like, just go with the flow. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. You're like, well, you need to go with the flow.
I'm building.
Can't compute.
Okay, so you're going to build your giant, beautiful skyscraper, and I'm going to build the underwater castle that is in the Little Mermaid.
I used to love that. I used to love Ursula.
Oh my gosh, I'm not Ursula. All right,
no, I used to love her.
I know. All right,
the interview's over.
I know, click.
Imagine he's banned from ever coming back.
This is why I'm ending. No, I'm joking.
Imagine.
So Bruce has a great question.
Okay.
Bruce's question is, do your money mindset strategies work with all kinds of manifestations, or are there exceptions? I mean, when we think about manifestation, I'm going to add a little bit to that. Mm-hmm. Like I go there, you know, you can, I mean, there's plenty of people out there that will say you can manifest anything without limits. But I believe there are some limits. There's a limit of certainly things like, if I want to manifest being a child actor, my time is done. I can be an actor, but I can't be a child actor, right? So it's not there. The limits are minimal. They're small, and there are other adaptations. But there's definitely things like, I can't manifest being a child. That can't happen because I've already progressed through time. Not in this lifetime. Maybe in the next lifetime I could be a child actor, but in this lifetime I can't be a child actor because I'm no longer a child. However, I can be an actor. I could be, you know, anything else in that realm, but there are some limitations. So I think when people say that thing of like, there's no limitations, what they're saying is 99% of the things don't have limits. There's 1% where there is some kind of limit, and then you can find an adaptation that will work for you. But what are your thoughts on the strategies that you teach and how they can be used?
I think that's an amazing point you just made about when people say there's no limits. How I interpret that is this: we can manifest our version of things, our own version of things, right? So in terms of what I call the totality of possibilities, it's a phrase from Louise Hay, right? The totality of possibilities. I do believe in infinite possibility. I genuinely do. However, I believe that it manifests as our version of things. So, you know, I'll give you an example. A lot of my clients come to me for business coaching because they want to, you know, do very practical things like increase their income. They want to put packages together. They want to raise their fees, etc. Now, you can do all the mindset work on that you like, but you have to take practical action to give it a space to manifest. So I also think a lot of the time it's based on how much action you take. You know, what are you doing to create the change that you want? I don't personally like the word limit because I feel like it shuts a part of the mind down. What I do is, like I said, I think of it like our version of things. So, you know, no, on a physical level, you couldn't say become a child actor now, but what you could do is get into roles that you loved as a child, or you could, you know, you could book a role in a child's film, you know, so there's different ways of getting to what you want without necessarily seeing it as a limitation. Now, to answer the question about the stuff I teach, it really depends on specifically what you want to manifest. I do work in the space of like money and obviously business and career development, but I do believe that, you know, if you're willing to do the work, you're willing to align your mindset, you can get your version of things. You can really get your version of things. I remember years ago, I can't remember, I think it's like 2013. I sat in a beach club near here, about 10, 15 minutes away from here. And I sat there and I said to myself, I'm going to live in Ibiza one day and run a coaching business. And, you know, got back into PR, did all that stuff. And about 3 days ago, I went back to that place and I cried a little bit just from gratitude, because I walked in and it was the weirdest thing. I hadn't reserved a table and the waiter was like, oh, this space is free. And it was the exact same space I'd sat in. And I just sat there looking out at the ocean and listening to the music. And I realized that like I'd manifested my version of having that. Was there a lot of practical work? Yeah, of course there was. That's life. We live in a physical world. But I think that if you do the mindset work and you see how powerful you really are, then you'll understand you can absolutely manifest things.
I think I liken it. It's very interesting.
That was very long.
No, but it was really, no, this is a really important topic about magic of all kinds. And I think one of the things that, you know, I have lots of analogies for magic. I love an analogy. So
I
have
love
lots
your
of
analogies.
But one of the things that I say is that it's a lot like surfing. And if you've ever been surfing, it's a lot of work surfing, actually. You have to, I'm a Southern California girl, so I've been on a board a couple of times. I'm no surfer, but I've been on a board a couple of times. And you have to get to surf, to have that exhilarating, amazing experience, which is an amazing experience, you've got a lot of work to do. So you have to have a surfboard, rent one, buy one. You have to go out into the water. You have to get to the beach. So that, you know, is a practical part of it. You've got to paddle out into the place, that spot where you can catch the wave. And then when the wave comes, this is the part that I really get to. When the wave comes, if you've ever watched a surfing movie, you have to dig, paddle to get your board to catch the momentum of that wave. Once you do that, you can pop up, you stand up, and then you get to ride that wave in. So I liken so much magic or so much manifestation to surfing. You are harnessing an amazing source of energy, which is that universal field, whatever you want to call it, universal field, God energy, you know, the force, I don't know, whatever you want to call that energy.
Pamita energy.
You can get on that wave and get it, but you do have to do the practical things to get to that wave. Once you get on it, you can sort of steer your you can steer your surfboard where you want it to go to some degree, but the wave is going to take you where it wants to take you. So you have to kind of work with the wave. You work with the energy of the wave. You never work against it, and nor are you doing all the work. So the same thing with magic. The whole point of magic is not just to cheer yourself on while you do all the work. It is to catch that wave so that you get those opportunities, you get those lucky breaks, you get those cool things that take you farther than you could do on your own. So it's being in those synchronistic experiences, being in the right place at the right time, having, the magical person that comes into your life, or the magical opportunity that comes into your life, that we might call, some people, out there might call it luck, or they might call it, oh, you're just such a lucky person. But that's what we want to tap into, is that energy that carries us, so that we're not paddling all the way in. Yes, we have to paddle out to get there. Yes, we have to, do the work to some degree, but we want to harness that energy that takes us even further than we could go just on our own steam. And I think that's something that applies to many aspects of life. But, we could talk about that. It's like, well, if you want a new job, you don't sit at home and wish for the new job. That wishing, or even that visualization, isn't going to be quite enough, or it's going to take longer. It's not like they're going to knock at your door and go, hi, are you a person that does
Hi,
money?
you lit the candle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got a job for you. You might have to put out resumes, but you want to support your resumes with that magic. You want to support your abundance and manifestation work with magic of some kind, or mindset, and mindset, not or mindset, and mindset, so that you get to ride that huge wave, that beautiful wave, so that you get that energy behind you.
Yeah.
Now,
I think that's an amazing example. I love that. And just to quickly say, I think many people have this, I certainly did, this kind of limiting belief that manifestation means it just happens for you, or it just comes to you. And when I was writing one of my first coaching programs, something that came to me was magic works through you, not for you. And that's something that I literally think about all the time, whether it's money mindset or it's manifestation. You are the magic. Like, stop assuming the magic is outside of yourself, because it isn't. So much of the work I do with people is always mindset first. Why? Because, I taught a course a few years ago on manifesting, and I gave an example, and I said, it's like being in a cinema. The movie projector is your mindset, and what you see on the screen is your experience. If you want to change what's on the screen, you have to change what's in the movie projector. Instead of like shouting at the screen, you just have to go, I'm just going to put a different, I was going to say tape, but it's not a tape, is it? A roll.
They don't even have that anymore. It's like a download now, a different download.
An MP3 thing. Bubbles will get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's so true, because, when we were talking about like what's possible, when people say that anything is possible, they're just giving a shortcut to tell you, the listener, that probably there's 1% that might not be possible in this lifetime, might be possible in another lifetime, might not be possible in this lifetime, but there's 99.9% that is possible. However, what do people believe? The flip side, they might believe 1% is possible and 99.9 or whatever is possible. That it's not possible for me to have this, or it's not possible. They put their own limits. In tarot, for you guys that are tarot nerds, it's the Eight of Swords energy. The woman that's standing there with a blindfold, bound with some kind of loose, janky bindings, and standing immobilized, but the swords are just on the right and the left. They're not all the way around her. And she can wiggle out of that dumb thing that's wrapped around her and take off her blindfold, and she could walk across that puddle. But instead, she believes herself to be disempowered. She believes herself to be trapped. So the same thing is so much about mindset. We believe we can't, or believe we're not worth it, or we're not good enough. And I always think, back to this thing that I say, it's like when someone makes us less than, we are in agreement with that. If we, or they aren't making us less than. So you have to be in agreement with something. So if someone says you're not good enough, guys that are wearing black t-shirts, they're not good. They're not as good as the guys wearing white t-shirts. You would have to be in agreement with that for it to matter. But if I say to you, guys that wear black t-shirts, we're both wearing black t-shirts, and you'd be like, no, what are you talking about? You're crazy, lady, because you're not in agreement with that. But there's so much about ourselves, whether it's our race, our gender, our sexual orientation, our whatever, that we're going, I'm not enough. That's where we have taken on the beliefs of the oppressor. We have assimilated that and taken it on. I think it's like a woman isn't able to do something because she's a woman. You can't be in that place. You can't be in that space. And that is something that is mindset. That is totally mindset. They can't oppress you unless you agree to the oppression.
I love the fact that you're saying this, because so much of the coaching I do gets to this point. When I coach my clients privately, we'll talk about money story, we'll talk about money guilt, money shame, all this stuff. And so much of what comes up is, I can't because I am, and then insert whatever it is. And the more you coach on it, you realize it's just a story you're telling yourself. And by acknowledging it's a story you tell yourself, you've also acknowledged your story is what becomes true. So you then also acknowledge, stay with me, that you have the power to change that story. I wrote a class this morning, actually, and I haven't given it a name yet, but I was talking about money triggers. And people will use certain language, specifically with women, that they don't use with men, I haven't seen, and I coach a lot of people. You're too expensive is nearly always some kind of insult. Who do you think you are? Now, for that to hurt you, there's two things. One is expensive. You have to have a negative association with that word. And two is your sense of identity. What are you telling yourself around that? Because one person could hear you're expensive and just think, okay, that client doesn't have the budget, no problem, darling. Another person with those trigger points, I'm being cheeky deliberately to
Yes.
make light of it, right?
Yeah.
But another person could hear that and go, oh my God, I've offended them. I'm a bad person. Who do I think I am? We don't want to go there. Money mindset coaching is about you consciously taking on the identity of someone that you want to be, and that somebody that works for you. And to bring it back to the fabulous point of magic, when you're doing your spells, it's not, oh, I hope this works. It's, of course this will work. Of course it will. You know, I'm a powerful witch or magician, whatever you identify as. And that's why I'm planting this seed, and I know it will grow. So you can apply the same concepts, you know, to money mindset or to magic.
So
It's
good,
always about the sense of your identity, you know?
It's so true. Sherry and MK and everybody wants to know, where can they get your deck?
I weirdly just saw them behind the laptop, everyone.
Oh,
So
they're so beautiful. They're so beautiful and they're so powerful. And it's
thank you.
not a deck that's a divination, although it is kind of a divination, but it's more about having a daily affirmation, right? That's really what it is.
I designed them last year through, I was doing a lot of meditating at the time, and I would get these messages. And they're a combination of affirmations with like business advice in, and coaching questions. So the cards typically will say stuff like, I release all guilt around money. Another one will say, multiple income streams are a gift I give myself. I now choose to create several. So I'm kind of nudging you with tips like multiple income streams. At the moment, they're available to private clients and people in NNS Academy, but we are looking at making them available to people who might want to just buy them. So I guess if anyone watching is interested, you guys can also email support@moneymindsetandstrategy.com, and we'll see what we can do about the cards. Absolutely.
Do you have a mailing list or something that they can sign up for, that they can
Yes.
find out when it is?
Yes.
Like
If
when they
you,
released?
it should be on the website now, like an opt-in. If for whatever reason it isn't, send me a DM on Instagram or drop us an email, support@moneymindsetandstrategy.com. We'll be happy to take your details and get in touch. Or if you just want to say hi and, you know, share anything that you liked about the interview, then of course, you know, you can also say hi about that. But about the cards, they are currently available for people in our trainings, but we are looking at basically making them available worldwide.
So they need to be worldwide.
Darling.
Darling.
Shipping is so hilarious at the moment, isn't it? It's calming down now, but
For a
yeah,
while, during COVID, you were shipping me things from Spain and it was taking 6 months to get to.
it was taking, they even said to me at the post office, they were like, good luck. I'm like, this is not encouraging.
So Hillary says, I love Capricorns. I'm a Pisces and I have a Capricorn stellium. Saturn builder with hard work and time. Yep, for sure, for sure. That's Capricorn. Janet's a Capricorn. All the caps in the house. Woo! Yeah, I love my Capricorns. I have
Love
so
a
many
cap.
friends. Yeah, I love a cap.
Love a cap.
Yes, look at workhorses. Yep. We love our Capricorns. Lady Raven says, what if chronic illness is a huge problem and a blockage that keeps you from being the best that you can be? How would you work spiritually, magically, and in manifestation when you're dealing with chronic illness?
So I think the first thing that kind of energetically is coming to me, or intuitively rather, is your use of language around that, like keeping me from being the best I can be. I don't know the specifics of your situation, but the very fact that you're like showing up powerfully to something like this, asking a question, actually shows me how proactive and powerful you are. So I would say to you, you are pretty on track with being the best you can be already. And I think it's, again, an identity piece. If you say, it's keeping me from being the best I can be, you're casting yourself in a role where you're not quite where you could be. So I think it's really about, first of all, acknowledging how strong you are, like how powerful you are for showing up every day. Again, I don't know the specifics, but I just want to really acknowledge you for that, because, you know, I think it's amazing that you are living with something and also showing up powerfully, asking great questions. So firstly, please praise yourself more and acknowledge like the brilliance that is you. And in terms of your manifestation, something's coming to me about I don't know if you're familiar with EFT tapping, but there's a setup phrase which is even though, and then you say it, and then you go, I choose to love myself completely. So play with the mindset of like, even though I have this chronic illness, I'm going to choose to manifest anyway. Even though this situation is happening with my chronic illness, I'm going to choose to have a fabulous manifestation anyway. Like instead of pushing against it, I would say flow with it.
Flow. You learned something from your
Flow.
cancer friend.
I'm trying. Go with the flow. I don't get it.
Tracy has a question. A glitch that she has is, my glitch is that all my power moments happen when someone pisses me off. Capricorn here, smiley face. So how do I capture that energy at will? So it sounds like, Tracy, you get like a real lot of fire energy, anger energy, and then you throw that fireball and you manifest something amazing because of that fireball. But then you're not finding the access to that. So what do you have anything that you could address with that or talk about?
I really relate to that. So love what you're saying. I really relate to that.
Capricorn.
I actually coach some clients on like FU goals. So if they're like, I'm leaving my corporate job, and I'm like, what would your FU goal be to your company? I'm not ever going to swear though. All right. So what I would coach you on there is, you said when people piss you off. So specifically, what are you trying to do? Like, is it you're trying to take your power back? Is it you're trying to prove you can do something? Is it that you're trying to, like, if somebody says you can't do something and you're saying, actually, I can, tap into like what the pissed offness is about, get to that, and then think of how you can sort of enhance that. So, for example, if I'm going to make something up, but like, let's say someone says, that's not possible for you. And you're like, yes, it is. And you get really pissed off about it. And like, that's what fuels your fire. Choose to tap into that. Like, how can I tap into this without being pissed off? Because being pissed off can be great for goals and manifestation, but we don't always want to rely on being annoyed, right? We don't want to, not all the time. We don't always want to go into that energy. So I would get clear on like what the kind of root cause is, or like what's giving you the fuel in that pissed offness, and connect to that.
So beautiful. Kathy asked the question, is writing down positive affirmations about money a good action for manifestation?
Depends how you feel when you do it. So how I look at things is, it's always the mindset, right? So like if you're writing it, and this is coming to me quite strongly, so I think someone's meant to hear this. If you're writing it with a please energy, like please let this be true, you're keeping it outside of yourself. So when you're writing it, try and visualize like, I'm writing the reality of my life. I give my private clients an assignment where they write the story, but in present tense. So it's like, this morning I woke up and I did this, it was fabulous. My emails were pinging with payment received, really get into that. Get into the mindset of having it now. My honest opinion is speaking them is the most powerful, because your voice has energy. It triggers your body chemistry, your neurochemistry, nerd alert. And it does a lot of different things sort of within your energy system. So definitely play with speaking them, and play with also speaking them as well, because both are very powerful. But ultimately, it's about how you feel and about how you identify. So I'll be quick because I'm not sure how we're doing for time. But for example, if I was to pick a money affirmation here, I'll try and get a short one.
We don't have a time limit because I run the show, but I want to be,
because you're the boss.
I'm going to be conscious that it's 2:58 a.m. there. So.
Oh, I don't mind. That's not a problem for me, I promise. So let's say that you wanted to choose an affirmation and you said this one: I set lifestyle goals that feel exciting for me. Okay. Really go into like, what does that look like for me? What does that mean for me? I think a lot of the time we speak affirmations from an energy of like wanting it to be true because it isn't. How you make them work is, what does that mean for me? Like, how can I embody that? If that were true for me now, what would I do? it's a really great coaching question you can ask yourself with your affirmations is write the affirmation down or speak it, and then say, if that were true for me, what would I do? Or you can say, if I was fully in alignment with affirmation, I would, and then do those things.
Yeah. I think about like the whole aspect of that is so important, that it's about that artificial limitation. If you're coming from a place of, oh, I hope I can get this, but I don't know.
Please.
Please. You are not giving that, you're not giving that fireball that, that Tracy was talking about, that fireball
Love that
that you need to
example.
have. I just picture like a wizard throwing a
I love it.
fireball. That's Tracy.
I get it, Tracy. I really get it. Trust me.
But
I
it's
get
like
it.
that energy. Like I did some work that you and I had talked about this morning, and I felt this feeling of anticipation. I always say that sweet spot for manifestation is the feeling of anticipation. Like when you're a little kid and you know your birthday is coming, you don't know exactly when your birthday is coming because you don't have really a concept of days or how to count the days. Like if they say it's in a week, you don't know what a week is when you're a little kid, right? But you know your birthday's coming, you know you're going to have a party, and you know there's going to be presents, and that excitement that's building, you have full confidence that you're going to have a party and there's going to be presents and cake and all of those good things, right? That's what, as you know, as a child, you feel. And of course, the birthday comes. So what you want to do is to get into that place where you're feeling the juiciness of the thing that's about to come, as if you know it's already coming, as if it's already there. So whether it's a feeling, and you can do it through visualization, you can do it through saying the words, you can do it through writing as if it's already here. Any one of those techniques will work, but it's the feeling that you have to get behind. You cannot simultaneously feel I'm not deserving of it and be in powerful manifestation. I mean, sometimes we feel like I'm not deserving and we get the thing anyway, but maybe we don't get it as big as we could have gotten it if we had been in that place of feeling, leaning into it and feeling some ownership for it, and that we were going to have it. So there's more questions and I want to get to. Pamela says, I'm preparing. Pamela, this is exciting. I'm preparing to resign my 9-to-5 job. I hope that means
Congratulations.
You're going to do magical work full time, Pamela. What strategy, magically as well as in the mundane, would you suggest? I'm a spiritual healer and practitioner that wants to work with celebrities in various capacities. Pamela. So what would you suggest? What strategy would work as well as the mundane?
Okay. This is like my just favorite thing to coach on. So the first thing I would suggest for you is to get really comfortable charging well for your services. Healers tend to have a hard time with this. And I'm going to give you very blunt advice. You deserve to be very well paid for your gifts. You deserve to be really well paid for your time and energy, and you deserve to work with people who appreciate your time and energy. So the first thing I'm going to say to you is get comfortable mapping out what you would like your pricing to be. This is stuff I teach in MMS Academy. It's also stuff I coach on very in depth in my private packages. So anyone watching, reach out if you'd like to know more. But that's the first piece, is to really see yourself as a business. And I'm going to say something else that's a bit cheeky and a bit blunt. Your business is not your charity, okay? You are a business. It is safe for you to make a fabulous profit. I really just want to give that to people listening, because a lot of people in the spiritual field have this like unconscious thing of like, oh, I'm helping everyone. You are, and you deserve to be very well paid for that. So that's one piece of mindset. The next would be to map out clear offers. Okay, you want to create things like packages, you want to create things like programs and income streams. If you take a look at my business, we have, I think it's like 4 or 5 online trainings, and then there's cards and there's private coaching. It's essentially all the same material, but it's different topics and themes in different income streams. So you want to look at your business as a brand and look at how you can start, creating different offers in line with that. And I guess a third piece, probably more than third actually, isn't it? But another piece I'll give you there is like, set some very clear income goals for yourself. Really, if you want to take it seriously like a business, sit down and go, this is what I want my income to be. This is my ideal client. and this is what I want to start bringing in per month, because it's a fabulous thing to be doing. I just want to make sure that you're taking it seriously, and of course yourself seriously, like a business.
Pamela is an amazing spiritual worker. So yes, I can attest to Pamela, you can do
Fabulous.
this and you can be charging well for the work that you do. And one of the things that I say now, I'm a Cancer. Okay, so we're going to get into the I'm a Cancer. So I, of course, I'm always like everybody's mama. I'm always taking care of everyone, but you can do that too. It doesn't mean mean that you have to charge low rates. You can charge well for your work, and then you can do charitable things, free things, donate money to your favorite charities, have space and time to volunteer for things. But it has some delineation. It has that delineation. One of the things that I say to people, this is something that comes up once in a while, and this is something that's coming up with this question, which is people say, well, you shouldn't charge for spiritual work. And I say, yes, back in the old days, in the oldest times, when the shamans and the people that were the spiritual healers and the wise women and the cunning men and the people that worked in the community were doing these things for free, it was because someone would bring them a chicken to eat. Someone would bring them some vegetables. Someone would fix their roof. Someone would do something in exchange. The community took care of the people. We live in a capitalist society where, this is what we live in, and this is a system that we live in. We have to work within that system, because we don't have the system where somebody fixes the roof on your house, somebody unclogs your drain when it needs unclogging. We don't have that system in place. So we have a system that's based on money and exchange of money. So it's okay for you to take money for your spiritual services, because nobody's coming and putting food on your table. What they did in the old days, if we think about, in tribal societies and in Paleolithic times, I mean, the community worked together. Some people were collecting food, some people were growing food, some people were hunting, some people were doing magic, some people were doing healing, and everybody was taken care of because it was communal. But we don't live in communes. So if you live in a commune, it's great. You can do it that way. And there are communes out there where you can do that. I mean, I think about there's things that I do where I do things for free too, but it's because I choose to do them, not because somebody's twisting my arm and saying you're a spiritual worker, you need to not charge.
I just want to jump in with something. People who say you shouldn't charge, that's a very manipulative comment to say to someone that you want to work for you for free. And a lot of the people I mentor privately are incredibly talented, generous, kind, compassionate, brilliant people, men and women. Anyone who says to you, you shouldn't charge me for this, and they want you to do it for free, they're not your client. I'm being really direct with you right now from a loving place. That is manipulating. That is guilt and shame language. Would you go to a lawyer and say, you shouldn't charge me for this? Yeah, they should. Or a brain surgeon or a doctor or a Linda Evangelista, anyone you want to, I'm just throwing out people,
A supermodel, you shouldn't charge for modeling.
Darling, Naomi Campbell, you shouldn't charge. She'd probably be like, I'm being playful to make a point. Like, just don't even engage in those conversations, because truthfully, you deserve to be well paid for your time. Like, hold that belief to be true rather than going into bullshit beliefs that are meant to manipulate you. And I feel like people say that to women, especially, like, you shouldn't charge me for this healing. Okay, go elsewhere. Because truthfully, again, when you charge well for your services, the person paying takes it more seriously. They are investing in themselves, and you show up more powerfully when you're being well paid for your work.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody would dare, like you say, go into a restaurant. Like we've talked about this before, go sit down at the restaurant, have a meal, and then say, well, this should be free. You shouldn't, your cook should be cooking for me for free. The cook doesn't want to cook for you for free. The restaurant owner doesn't want to supply that food. The wait staff doesn't want to do it for free. Why should you do it for free? The same thing. It's like you never let somebody guilt you into giving something. If you choose to donate something because you believe, like I do things all the time where I'll go and do a party for a charity because I believe in that charity, or I donate money to something because I believe in that thing, but it's my choice, not because somebody said to me, you should do that for free. It's because I chose to do that. So that's this kind of thing. So the
Mm.
mindset is the elevation of the mindset is to get into the place where you can be as generous as you want, but not from that place when you nailed it on the head, which is the manipulation. The
And your
manipulation.
business is not your charity. You
Yeah.
know, like your business is not your charity.
Yeah. I mean, I love what I do. I love what I do. Believe me, I love what I do. And I also do
And you're
many,
amazing at it.
and I give
Amazing.
so many free things. Like I have this, we get
Mhm.
together and we do this, and there's so many things that I give away because I just love to do them and I give them away, but I choose, not because somebody says you have to do that and you have to give
Do you
it to me for
remember,
free.
I think it's in Sex and the City. Do you remember when she's like, I choose my choice? Do you remember? I think it's Charlotte. I can't really remember, but that's something I used to laugh about. I choose my choice, okay? And that's a great point. Just be really mindful of manipulation and guilt and shame triggers,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
ultimately those are not your clients.
yeah. So, so let's see. Oh, and what is your book called? You have a ton of books. Are the books still available that you had?
Me?
Yeah, your books.
Moi? So I have one called Spellwork Secrets to Manifest Your Desires. Um, The other website I have, by the way, is magicformodernlife.com, which is magic with a K. The reason I don't lead with that, full transparency, is because most of my time and energy goes into money mindset and strategy. But the magical books and courses are available on magicformodernlife.com. That's magic with a K. The other books I have on money mindset and business are actually inside MMS Academy, and they are, I'm going to try really hard to remember the exact titles, so forgive me if well, you guys won't know the difference, will you? So I'm just going to keep going. The first one is 33 Income Streams for Your Lifestyle Business. The other one is called Manifest Like a Boss. There's also one called 33 Ways to Promote Your Business and market yourself and promote your business. And then there's also another one about being an empowered coach and showing up powerfully in your business.
Hillary gave us the down low. It's when Charlotte was in Sex and the City and when she quit her job to try to get pregnant.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. It is. I remember. Yeah, I choose my choice. Yeah.
I choose my choice. You guys are so sweet. I see so many sweet comments about, yes. I mean, it's about being in alignment. And I think one of the things that you're so brilliant as is you're helping people to get into their own alignment, to realize that what they offer is valuable. And I think one last thing I'm going to say, and I think this is something that you would agree with. I mean, I've known you so long, you would agree with this. But
I hope I do.
I hope you do now. But I think that I've noticed this, and because one of the things that I do that we don't talk about too much is that I do music, I do art, I do these other things that are pleasurable things. They're hobbies where I make a little money, but it's not like I can make a living at them, right? And so, I mean, painting, I haven't been charging for that, but band, you play around, you probably break even if you're
Let's coach
lucky.
on
that. Exactly. So, but one of the things that I say is everybody that has a talent, they think, well, it's so easy. Like they don't take into consideration that you spent years and years and years learning how to play bass, or years and years and learn how to paint, or years and years and years of learning magic. For me, candle magic is the easiest thing in the world. Tarot is the easiest thing in the world. So then I don't value it as much as someone else does, right? So when we think of ourselves and we think of all our beautiful, brilliant talents, we kind of diminish them. We go, well, anybody can do that. Anybody can do it. I mean, I really do believe anybody can do a candle spell. But there's that idea that I'm bringing so much knowledge when I do a candle spell. You're bringing so much knowledge about PR and mindset and magic and business coaching when you come for a session. And, people that are doing their own businesses like Pamela and so on, you bring so much of your years and years and years of reading books and studying and practice and all of those things to the table that when you meet someone, you might not think, it's no big deal, but it is a big deal. It is a big deal. To someone who doesn't know, it's a big deal, right? So thinking about that and how you bring that in, that's where then someone saying to you, you shouldn't charge for that. is so wrong. It's so wrong.
It's actually rude,
Oh, it's
honestly,
incredibly rude.
it's incredibly rude. And it just makes me laugh because, something that I said this years ago in one of my first coaching programs, the things that are normal for you and obvious can be life-changing to the people who don't know them. So an exercise I often have my private clients do and people in MMS Academy is write down a list of everything you've overcome, read, studied, achieved, invested in, gone through, learned the hard way. I could go on. That is what makes you worth amazing fees. And there's an example in England we use a lot, and it's like if a plumber comes to fix something and they're there for 10 minutes and the bill is 300 or 400, it's like, you charge me 400 for 10 minutes? No, I charged you for knowing how to fix the problem in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I could have used a much cooler example, but let's just keep going. But truthfully, all of this stuff that I'm saying and that Pamita is saying this isn't for you to necessarily even say to your clients. This is for you to say to yourself. Don't get into some debate with people about why you charge what you charge, because truthfully, that is justifying energy. And it's also very disempowering because it becomes a power struggle. The best thing, disengage. Thank you for your message. Because you don't need to justify your fees to anyone.
True. I think you're such an amazing, oh my gosh, you are just, you're my baby forever and ever.
Likewise, witch wife.
You're
Hashtag witch wife.
my witch husband. And you're just an amazing coach, such a font of knowledge,
Thank
so
you.
wise beyond your years. I mean, you're only 21. I mean, how did you?
I'm only 18.
Excuse me, sorry. At least you're legal now.
Can you imagine?
But you're
next year, I mean.
You're such a beautiful, I mean,
Thank you.
I mean, there's such a deep well of knowledge with you, not only magical knowledge, but practical, all that practical Capricorn stuff, and just so amazingly generous with everything. If they want to connect with you, I put the links again.
Thank you.
Pamela also put your link tree up. Thank you, Pamela, for doing that. And
my link tree?
Yeah.
Oh,
off
thank you very much.
Off of your Instagram, and Lady Raven.
Thank you. Thank you very much for doing that. That's very kind of you.
You guys are on top of it. I love it.
I have to say, the energy tonight is fabulous. Sorry, the energy with the questions is just.
Can I just say, the Spell Squad is fabulous. This is nothing new to me. I'm used to
rock. This is my daily life. I love it. You guys are fabulous.
That's why I do this, because I love these guys, and I love getting together and talking about magic and doing all this. So they can find you on Instagram, Joseph James _official. They can find you unofficial or official.
I'm official.
You're official. Or they can find you at moneymindsetandstrategy.com.
Yeah.
And they can contact you in those places. There's also the email as well. And they can find your podcast if they want to hear more. Your podcast episodes are amazing. And they're these little doses of like 20, 30 minutes of really very to the point, mindset changing, prosperity magic, and all of that. They can get into that, and they can find it by looking up on all the podcatching things. They can find it anywhere. Money, Mindset, and Strategy. Yeah. And they can find you at moneymindsetandstrategy.com is your website, right? I said
that's the main website. And then if you guys would like to talk about private coaching or coming into MMS Academy, where we cover all of this stuff in depth, you can drop us an email, support@moneymindsetandstrategy.com, or just send me a DM. If you're coming from Spell Squad, then I'm more than happy to sort of like say hi.
People. I know
and everyone's lovely who's been asking great questions. And even if you just like to know some more about like, if the program's right for you, what private coaching looks like, just send us a DM and we'll be happy to, answer any questions and really point you in the right direction.
It's so good. It's so good. Don't forget, next week is going to be Powerful Protection Magic. If you haven't signed up for it, it's witchcraftworkshops.com. You can go there and sign up. It's $40. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop, which
amazing.
is going to be
amazing.
I'll
be there.
You're going to be, we're going to cover it all. We're going to cover all different types of protection magic that you can do, all different things that you can do. And I think that that's something that, when we talk about like being able to live your life and living your best life, you don't want to be looking over your shoulder, worried about, an enemy or something bad happening to you. And this is some really beautiful magic that you can do to just get yourself into a place where you can really blossom. I think that protection magic allows us to blossom where we aren't focused on those things and being pulled away. So it's a really beautiful class that we're going to be having. Then we're going to have our new format where it's just going to be me and you guys, just us, and we're going to be hanging out. I'll be giving you a little mini workshop at the beginning, and then we'll be answering your questions about the workshop stuff or anything else that you want to bring to the table. It's going to be super fun. We're going to try that out for a while. I mean, at least to the end of the year. I've got them all pre-programmed till the end of December. So we've got lots of cool topics to focus on, and it'll be super fun. So I hope you'll join me for that. Thank you again, Joseph James. I love you so much.
I love you too. And the feeling is so mutual. Thank you
my
for,
gosh.
And thank you everyone thank you everyone for the great questions. It's really nice to do a session like this and people ask really great questions. So thank you very much for that.
I bring the best here. The Spell Squad is the best.
You really
I'm only
do.
gonna bring the best. What can I say? We set a
Only
high bar.
Onlythebest.com. Onlythebest.com.
I mean, I have to say, I do spell work about attracting beautiful, amazing, wonderful people into my sphere, and it shows up all the time with the Spell Squad, all the time. Well, you guys have a great week. If I don't see you at the workshop next Sunday, we'll see you at the next Q&A, which will be on the 13th, I believe. And same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks again, Joseph. And I'll see you this week for our session.
And I can't wait. I've got some notes ready.
I've got some wins for this week. All right, you guys have a great week, everybody. And you get some rest, get some sleep. I know you're in Ibiza and you're at the disco until 3 a.m.
Nothing's open, sadly. Or is it?
Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.